Okay, why does the Google's Pixel 6a exist and who is it for? This is going to be a very different video. On the 21st of July, the Pixel 6a was available for pre-order on Flipkart and it was launched at a price of 43,999 rupees. Very expensive, right? But how can we judge it's expensive? Obviously, by comparing it to other phones available at this range. But I feel that is not the correct way to judge the value of a phone. The pricing trend of this phone can be better understood by taking a look at the pattern of the previous launches by Google. In this case, let me take the Google Pixel 4a. It is my father's device and he uses it as its daily driver. Now, my father is 56 years old and he's a working professional. His daily use cases of phone is basically just making calls, checking messages, browsing through WhatsApp, and a little bit of Facebook. Yes, he still uses Facebook. Also, browsing through the web and scanning lots of documents and clicking a few pictures. Before owning this device, he used to have a Redmi Note 7 Pro, and trust me, he had a terrible experience with it. And while purchasing a new phone, he just wanted to make sure that no matter what its specifications are or no matter how it looks, he just wanted a phone which was a very reliable and he just wanted a no nonsense phone. So we started a search for the new phone. And during its launch, the Pixel 4a was priced for 32,000 rupees, which didn't seem quite value for money, and there were many better options available. So as the search went on, during that time, had its Big Billion Day sale, and the Pixel 4a was available for 27,000 rupees, and along with some card discounts, we got it for 25,000 rupees. Initially, we were a little skeptical as most of the phones at that price range had a somewhat better processor, a better build quality, like made up of metal or glass. They had multiple cameras, and all of them had, a better refresh rate on the screen. And most importantly, the buzzing phone at that time, a Redmi Note 10 Pro, which was priced significantly lower, had beat the phone in almost every aspect when compared specs wise. But we were very clear not to go with another Redmi or Realme phone this time. So we went with the phone at 25k, which had a plastic back, which had a single camera, had a Snapdragon 730G processor, and a decent amount of RAM and storage. So, how did the decision fare out? Uh, well, we can compare any phone or we can review any phone based on the five major pillars which even MKBHD uses. Because generally, if a phone can do these five things well, it is more than good for you for your daily use. The five pillars or building blocks being number one, the performance for everyday tasks. Second, the cameras. Third, the build quality. Fourth, the battery life. And fifth, and the most important actually, the software or the daily usage experience. Just keep in mind though, this review is considering my father's usage, or basically a person's usage for whom the main priority is to have a stable experience rather than, getting every inch of performance the processor is capable of. So, number one, coming to the performance. One thing one must remember is that for everyday tasks like just checking your phone casually or browsing through web or even using social media and playing light games, most of the processors these days are more than good to handle them without any stutters. Now, some of you may argue that having a better processor will make it more future proof. And even though you are right at some point, one must remember that gone are the days where we used to have these Snapdragon 400 generation chips, which was so bad that literally after a few months of use, the phone would just start lagging. So, on the performance end, there was no issues at all, and the phone was very smooth. Next up, the cameras. And the less I talk about it, the better it is. Because come on, who are we kidding? We all know the Pixel is one of the best in terms of cameras. And just remember, this phone had a single 12 megapixel camera at the rear compared to all the 48 and 108 megapixel cameras and multiple cameras which other phones have to offer. But let me just get this straight. My father clicks pictures casually, and what he prefers is just point and shoot. He's not the one who would like to go into the settings and change a ton of features which the smartphone manufacturers provide, which are basically not necessary, right? For him, it's just open the phone, turn on the camera app, and just click a picture. And the next time he views it, he just wants it to be good looking. And this delivers 100% about it. And as I already told, there's no point talking more about it because we all know Pixels do a very good job in terms of camera. Number three, the build quality. And oh boy, I was so pleasantly surprised when I found out a plastic back phone could feel so good. Generally, we all have this notion with plastic phones, as in the past, we all might have used those cheap plastic phones which felt so bad to the touch. And so, the first thought which comes to our mind is it's gonna be cheap, right? It's gonna look cheap, it's gonna feel cheap. But trust me, you're gonna be totally wrong. One thing to remember is that the quality of plastic used is very different from what we are used to with the budget phones. Also, the phone being very compact and light makes it absolutely perfect for single handed use. And sometimes while just playing around this phone, I just remember the good old days when we had those small phones which were easily pocketable and very easy to use with a single hand. Gone are those days now, right? So, next up is the battery life, and this may be one place where the Redmis and Realmes of the world will beat this phone. But this doesn't mean that the battery life on this phone is bad. It is in fact very good for single day use, and most of the times we can end the day with 20 to 30% on light to moderate use. So nothing crazy here, but good for general use. By now you must have got the theme of this video, right? There's no single fact which is crazy, except the cameras maybe, on this phone, but everything is so balanced that it makes it very pleasant to use it. Oh, wait, did I tell there was nothing much crazy about this phone? Well, I'm wrong, because coming to the fifth point, that's the software. And trust me, guys, most of the reviewers gave more preference to the first 4 points, and in some way it might be understandable if the target audience are the youth who are okay with the software. But especially when it comes to our parents or any older people using the phone, trust me, software plays such a pivotal role in their experience. And coming to the Pixel 4a, with the stock Android like experience with Pixel UI, which in fact is better than stock Android, I would say, and sharing a few experiences which my dad faced. While using the Redmi Note 7 Pro, the phone had way too many ads, sometimes even on the lock screen and home screen, and unknowingly, he would end up installing some apps which was not even required. When switching to Pixel, it was a joy to use. And as you can see, it's currently running on Android 12, which many phones have not yet got. Whereas this received it on the first day it was officially available. So, what can we conclude? Well, this decision of purchasing the Pixel 4a for 25,000 has been one of the best purchases, or smartphone purchases in fact, which we have made in the recent past. And this is in no way trying to tell that any Xiaomi or OnePlus or Realme or any other brand phone may not be good. What I'm trying to say is based on the audience you're purchasing the phone for, trust me, that extra bit of peace of mind that the phone will be functioning smoothly and no unnecessary apps will get installed due to any ads or that no apps will crash all of a sudden. Not saying this doesn't happen on the Pixel 4a also, but the chances of it happening are lesser. So that peace of mind is way more than the 2 gigs of extra RAM or 2 extra cameras or maybe even a better processor. Now, how does this relate to the Pixel 6a which was launched today? Well, on Twitter and other social media apps, I've seen way too many people complaining about how it's dead on arrival or how a phone with a 60 Hz refresh rate should not be launched in 2022 at that price, or few people also arguing about how there are much better phones at a cheaper price. First of all, my point of view, I feel for 44,000 the phone is definitely expensive, but what one can remember is that by combining all the pre-launch offers, the price becomes decent. Still not very good, but can definitely be considered at 37,000. Also, if you feel it's still high, it's always worth to wait for any of the sales. And during these times, usually the Google phones come at a very attractive price. Again, by attractive, I'm not asking you to compare it with other phones, but be frank and compare it with your use case. And always remember one thing, if a phone satisfies all of your use cases, then it basically doesn't matter how it compares with other phones in different price ranges. If it's good for your daily use, then it definitely is a good phone, and it is true for any phone. Now that's all for this video. I hope you liked it as it was different from my other videos, and I hope I was able to answer the question that why does the Pixel 6a exist and who is it for. Thanks for watching.